Good morning. I ended that last video kind of abruptly, and I realized I didn't really tell you anything about the Santa Fe Trail. I may have mentioned it previously in another video, but Bent's Fort was on the Santa Fe Trail. In fact, it's where the southern and northern routes kind of split apart. And if you know your history, the Santa Fe Trail stretched from Missouri across Kansas down into New Mexico. Actually, at that time, what was then Mexico itself. And it was a big trading trail. It was also a immigration trail. So anyway, I'll be following the Santa Fe Trail. This is generally following along the path of it, and there's actually signs here and there up ahead that point out the exact places where the trail either went or where we're going to cross it. So Santa Fe Trail is about actually generally paralleling it for the into Dodge City, I believe. I also wanted to mention something else that I ended that video with. You saw that picture of that guy. For those of you who aren't old enough to remember, or who haven't watched the reruns, that was the character Festus from the TV show Gunsmoke, from it went from the mid-50s to the mid-70s. Anyway, that character was played by Ken Curtis. And something I learned yesterday, Ken Curtis was born right up the road here, about 35 miles, where we'll be passing through. He was born up in Lamar, Colorado, and spent a lot of his time back here in Los Alamos, where I'm just now leaving. And he was eventually buried here too. So that's why you got Gunsmoke theme and picture of Festus. So Ken Curtis. Alright, so the goal today is 17 miles to Lake Hasty Campground. And guess what? The car's coming. I got a late start as usual. So, and it's only going to be 95, 96 instead of 102. So we'll see how far I make it. It's 7:30 right now. So that's the plan. Alright, I'm walking onto Highway 50 here for a short distance till I get onto the little county road. But I want to kind of clarify something else from the last video, because it seemed a little confusing even to me what I did. So I left Pueblo, of course, and then during the day walked into Avondale, got there in the evening, stuck around at Chuck's place, had some ginger ale, pizza. Hey, hello, Jennifer. And then I camped out in Avondale overnight at the community center over behind the baseball diamond, between the baseball diamond and the Arkansas River. Then got up early that morning and walked through Boone and then into Fowler, where I got in the evening and then ended up camping out in the park in Fowler. And then that day in Fowler it got to be 102, so I hung around Fowler during the day, went to the cafe for a bit, over to the library, hung around in the library for a while in their air conditioning. And then towards the evening I decided that their air conditioning wasn't cold enough. It actually wasn't. So I got a little motel room and slept for a few hours in Fowler, and then got up around 10 o'clock and left in the evening. Walked down to Manzanola and slept in their park for about 2.5, 3 hours. I got permission from the police chief there. And then, so that was a night walk from Fowler to Manzanola. That's why there was no footage there. And then from Manzanola, I got up early in the morning and then walked down to Rocky Ford and got in there maybe 11-ish, 12-ish noon, maybe around 11 or so. And then I ended up getting a motel room there in in Rocky Ford, and hung around there until middle of the night. And then from Rocky Ford walked in through Swink, beautiful Swink. And then from Swink, I just hung around there by the water tower for about an hour in the cool morning. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. And then from Swink, I walked in the rest of the way to La Junta and got into La Junta about, I think it was about 10 a.m., maybe 9 a.m., and got a room in La Junta and stayed there overnight. And then what I ended up doing is the next day I caught a bus and got the bus up to Colorado Springs, and as you can see, I got new shoes. Yes, they're trail runners. So for those of you who have heard me say, trail runners, boots are the way to go. Well, those boots that I had previously for the first 1,100 miles, they're pretty good, but they didn't have enough padding for me for walking on these roads, so I decided to, when I got to Pueblo, the first time, I decided to get boots, other boots that had a thicker midsole, and on the walk from Pueblo to La Junta, those things just started chewing up my feet. So that's why in La Junta I got the bus, went to Colorado Springs, back to REI, took the boots back, ended up getting these trail runners. Then the next day I took the bus back to La Junta and got in there about 5:30 at night, stayed overnight, and then got up early and then walked the road into Las Animas, and thus the ending scene there on the last video at Bent's Fort. Bent's Fort was about 12 miles from Las Animas, so once after I did the tour there at Bent's Fort, I hung around there in the cool of the day, and then actually Jake, hello there Jake, who works there at the Fort National Park Service, he gave me a lift the rest of the way into Las Animas at Bent's Fort Inn. So that's the sequence of events up to the end of the last video. And so now I'm walking from Los Animas to Lake Hasty Campground, which is at the foot of the John Martin Reservoir. So that's 17 miles, like I said, and I'll most likely pull in there late this afternoon because I think I'll be doing like I did in that one section where I already forgot where it was. The one section where I walked from shade to shade and just took a bunch of breaks. So I'll probably do that today, and so that's why it's going to take me a while. So, babble, 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 that's what's going on today. And I've got something interesting to tell you about these little towns that I learned from Randy. Hello there, Randy. Hello there, Kay. Who's lived here all his life, but since this has gone on so long right now, I'll wait. Okay, now that I've gotten off the busy highway, I can tell you something else that I learned from Randy, who's lived here all his life. I've walked and noticed that a number of these fields between Pueblo and here have been fallow, nothing planted on them. So what I learned is that the ranchers, the farmers here, one by one have sold their water rights that they had to the entities in Denver, Colorado Springs, and took the millions of bucks, whatever it was, cashed out, and basically got out of town. So that's what's going on here when I see these fallow fields a lot. And Randy also mentioned too that these towns, he was just speaking of his town, Los Animas, which he's lived in all his life. These towns have then just started slowly, I guess politely saying, slowed down. But he put it another way, just they're slowly dying. Because one by one, these farmers have gotten out of town, and therefore their business goes away, and business goes away. People can't make a living, so then they move out. So, yeah, I guess I don't know if that's progress or what it is, because people in the cities need water, and they need to get it from somewhere. And if these people are willing to sell away their water rights and not farm, then I guess that's just the cycle of life, huh? Just want to make quick mention of this. Here's a little community, well, of Fort Lyon. It was bigger in the day, of course. But down here is the Fort Lyon, I think it's called the Fort Lyon Residential Supportive Community, something like that. Anyway, it's a place where people who are had challenges with drug and alcohol abuse, things like that, they come here and live here and try and get their lives back together. By the way, hey Leonardo, hey Daniel, hello there. I met a couple people when I was on the bus on the way up and back to Colorado Springs, and that have been here or are here, and they have positive things to say about it. They're getting their lives back together after some challenges, so good on them, and good on this. It used to be an old VA facility, and then the VA either sold it or gave it to the community. I forget what it was. So now that's what it's doing. So if you have time, just Look it up. It's called the Fort Lyon Residential Support something or other. Just look up Fort Lyon, Colorado, and you'll see it. And if you can, pray a little prayer for these people so that they can have that extra power to get back on track. It's kind of an interesting feeling when you can actually walk on an old historic trail where people from almost 200 years ago were coming along from east to west, up that way and down Banff's Fort to do their thing, whether it was trading, immigrating, escaping the Civil War. Interesting. The old Santa Fe Trail. Walking on County Road JJ. Hey JJ. Paralleling, for the most part, the north shore of Martin Reservoir. John Martin? Yeah, John Martin Reservoir, which is the Arkansas River, backed up behind a dam. But what I wanted to mention is this open plain, plateau, whatever you want to call it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the open country that is in California, Northern California, between Santa Cruz up to Half Moon Bay. So it would be like around Davenport, Gray Whale Cove. Come on, Renee, help me with those other places that are around there. But it just, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of it. It's because you see the water out there on the, so I just kind of pretend it's the ocean. And even though it's a little bit warmer, I don't know, just got that striking feeling. Speaking of warm, it was supposed to be 96 today. It may be getting up to that, but I've been saved by this easterly breeze, which has kept it pleasant. So it's not taking me as long as I expected to get to the campground, although I still do have about 7.5 miles. And here's a nice house if anybody is looking for a nice place to live. It's a little fixer. All right. Well, here's the John Martin Reservoir out here. And actually, you know what's interesting? You can actually drive across the dam there. That'd be interesting to see. But the other interesting thing is right here, Santa Fe Trail, crossing it again. We're on the north side of what would be the Arkansas River. And so back in the day, they would have been coming this way. And then, as I mentioned to you previously, then they'd be going up to Bent's old fort there. And speaking of Bent's old fort, remember how I told you he burned it down in 1849? Well, he did build a new one. He built the new one out of stone. And Bent's new fort is somewhere just right down that way, staying on the north side of the Arkansas River. So I won't get to go by it, but interesting little tidbit of fact nonetheless, yes? Now, on the way to Lamar, it's 19 miles. Weather's changed quite a bit, which is nice. It's cool. think it's only going to be 81, 82 today. And there was a real nice lightning storm last night. I rolled the dice and decided not to put the tent up, and I actually won. Got no rain, but that lightning storm, and I'll put the clip right here. It was pretty interesting. Lighting up the sky out there on the horizon. You don't get those in California, that's for sure. So anyway, on to Lamar, 19 miles. See if I make it. Otherwise, I'll just pull up somewhere alongside the road. Or the Lamar airport is, I think, about 15 miles away. So maybe I'll go to the FBO over there and see if they'll let me hang out. All right, here we go. The Arkansas River has been tamed. By that. Howdy. This is the, you see it? Yeah, you can. It's the Arkansas River. I am east of Lamar. And it's one of those draggy days again. So, what happened yesterday, I was leaving the campground, and that was Saturday. I was part of the way into Lamar, and then a guy stopped and said, "Hey, you know the rest, get in." So I got in and got a ride. It was about 14 miles. Got into Lamar, got some information at the visitor center, and then got a motel. Didn't want to deal with finding a camping spot, just got a motel. It was a nice place. The Holiday Motel in Lamar was only $45. It was a pretty good, pretty nice place. So I'm going to switch over here to this side here. So I stayed there at dinner. This morning went to Mass. And then went to Safeway and resupplied for 2 days worth from here to Holly, or from Lamar to Holly. I'm gonna have to camp out here somewhere. My goal, original goal, was to camp out at the cemetery out there by Bristol. I don't know how far I'm gonna make it. It's 15 miles, and it's already after 2. I didn't even start till almost noon. I don't know, maybe I'll just take a long break in the late afternoon, in the evening, and then just get out to the cemetery there. Otherwise, I'll just camp, or I'll just knock on somebody's door, ask to camp on their farmland there. But then that'll give me a long day to Holly. So, yeah, draggy day, not really much to see. It's just flat land. So, that's the update for now. 15 miles to the Bristol Cemetery. And after that will be 16 miles to Holly. And I think I'm going to stay in Holly. I was just going to take one day off. But I think my feet are still, my legs are still trying to adapt to these new shoes. So I think that I will, just a couple miles short of the Kansas border, I think I will take 2 0 days in Holly. It's a little town, but there's a couple restaurants, there's a market. And there's a couple of little motels there. And then make it into Kansas on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday or Thursday. All right, that's it for now. But even though it's a draggy day, it's always fun to come across these things. Santa Fe Trail, crossing it again. How fun. You are there. Alright, so down this country road. See, I think now it's about 13 miles almost. Or a little bit more than 13 miles. Cemetery or bust. Otherwise, I'm sleeping on the side of the road. Well, the cemetery will be quiet, right? Okay, it's 4:25, and when you get into the single digits of mileage left, it's always a psychological boost. I got 8.1 miles to go, but I'm also well, no, it's still 3 miles an hour, so I guess I'm doing okay. But now it looks like it's a race between me and the weather. It's about a 40 or 50% chance of rain or thunderstorms, scattered thunderstorms this evening. So let's see if it transpires, and we'll see who wins, if it does. Third time's a charm. I'm at pretty much the top of this third hill, so what do you think? Is it the final top? Or is there more to go? Well, it looks like it crests, then dips, and then comes up to a fourth top. And the fourth top is a little bit higher, so we're going to call that a fourth top. Oh boy. Alright, so now I have another question for you. The other night, before I got into Lamar, so the night that I stayed at the campground there west of Lamar, I gambled when I had that lightning show that was going on at night. Did I already tell you about this? Well, I'll pop it in here again. The lightning show that was going on at night, I was trying to decide, do I put up the tent or do I sleep under the stars? Well, that lightning show was pretty all night long, and I decided to not put the tent up, and that was a good bet because there was no rain that night. So now the question tonight is, do I make that same call and not put up the tent? There's some thunderheads kind of, I don't know if they're building or dissipating. That's out to the southeast. And then you got all this clouds here coming from the southwest and the west. Come on, focus. There we go. So what do you think? Tent or no tent tonight? Right now the time is almost 7 o'clock. What do you think? Look at the golden fields, punctuated by the gray skies. I like these evening sojourns, so to speak. Look at all the colors that are punched out, highlighted. Very pretty. I think I'm going to reach it. I'm going to make that cemetery tonight. So now we just need to find an appropriate place. Does this give you the creeps? I think it's kind of peaceful. Should we go behind the tombstones? Or maybe behind the tree here, huh? This should be good enough. Either this one here, or perhaps this one up here. Hey, you hear that bell? Huh. Yeah, we'll find a good spot. Good morning. Well, it was a nice peaceful night. Hanging out in the cemetery. I do have to mention a couple things. No, there were no ghosts. But I lost the bet last night as far as the rain goes. Didn't put up the tent, and guess what? It started to rain around midnight. But it was only for about 5 minutes or so. Maybe 10 minutes off and on. So it wasn't too bad. I just scooted myself underneath the tree a little bit more. And that was okay. And then the other thing is, this is one of those real sticky, humid mornings. Now, it's a good thing that it's overcast, so it's cool. But if it stays sticky and humid like this and the sun comes out, it's supposed to be 92 or 93 today. Oh boy, guess what that's going to feel like. Anyway, I've got about 16 miles to Holly, and Holly is just a few miles down the road from Kansas. I'm going to hang out in Holly for a couple of days because last night I realized, after looking for my rain jacket, I think I left it at that campground back there a couple days ago. Oops, oh well. So I'm ordering a new one. I'll have it mailed to me there in Holly. So that's why I'm staying the extra day. All right, that's it. Off we go. First stop around here is 6.7 miles to Hartman, which is over that way. And that's on, I'll turn right at Hartman and go down to Road JJ, I believe it is. And then turn west on JJ. And then go to Road 35. Turn south on 35 and go down to Holly. Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year. Well, look who I found here. I got some friends. They came to greet me on the way to Hartman. Little place off the side of the road. Oh, you're eating a stick. How's that taste? Yeah? You just chew on a stick like some old farmers chew on hay, is that it? Well, 3 of them are here, and I guess now that they see I don't have any food, I'm not any big deal to them. Yeah? Let's see. You bite? Yeah, see, look, no food. Yeah, forget you. Alright guys, see you later. I'm going to Hartman. Then I'm turning right and going on to JJ. And I'm turning left there. I'm going down to Holly. Hartman, Holly, JJ. I'm on KK right now. Oh boy. I'm actually doing pretty good. I was doing a 3.4 pace this past hour. It seems like I'm going slower. And it seems like it's more of a drag. Maybe that's why it's more of a drag. It's because I'm putting out more energy. Maybe I should slow down. Anyway, hi guys. See you later. Yes, I'm at another cemetery. This is the Hartman Cemetery, and it's about 6.5 miles past the other cemetery where I camped last night. There's something calming about cemeteries in general, to me anyway, and in particular these little cemeteries. You look at all these headstones and the people that have come and gone before us. You wonder what their lives were like, how they worked, how they loved, how they lived. And it makes you realize the passing of life and the shortness of life in the grand scheme of things, which is one part of what this journey is all about, in telling people that time is short. So if you have it in you, maybe throw a prayer out to these guys here, their souls in purgatory, if that's where they are. Hartman Cemetery. Got some more friends that came and visit me here. How you doing, huh? Just standing around, huh? Well, I'm heading on down the road here about another 5 miles. I'm gonna turn right, okay? Have a good day. Hey Wanda, who's Jack and where's Robbie? I just ate at Jack and Wanda's Tasty House in Holly, Colorado. And I'm heading on back. I passed, well, I didn't pass, but the motel is down this way where I'm going to stay. I got to stay here for a couple days because I'm waiting for a replacement jacket for the one I left behind. There's no place to buy one here, and I don't want to get caught. Look at that. I don't want to get caught without one just in case it rains. Next, between here and Dodge City, I guess, would be the next place where I'd have a chance to buy one. So anyway, Holly, Colorado is my home, away from home for the next 2 days. I'll show you more about it later. Alright, so here's the town of Holly. This is, they call it the Gateway Park. It extends up that way. I guess there was a creek here or something at one time, I don't know. This is Miles Court Motel. It's a newer motel. In fact, it's where I'm staying here. It was built in 2010, and just by the way, there's camping down that way in the park. So anyway, it's built in 2010. From what I understand, a tornado came through here, just like this, wiped out everything, and so they built this motel on that spot right there. This would be, I guess, oh, Colorado Street, that's what they call it, not Main Street. So this is actually US Highway 50 that cuts through here. We're looking east right now. Holly has about, I guess, 800 people from what I understand. There's a few churches. Here's, and it seems to be pretty well kept. I get a better feeling here than I did over in Manzanola. And also, so a couple restaurants. Actually, I think there's about 3. There's a little sandwich shop right there. Gas station, town hall, library. I'll show you Main Street when we get there. And yeah, so I guess a nice little place. And So it's at jumping off point to Kansas. I'll be in Kansas tomorrow. Actually, I cross over the border southeast of town, going down some little country roads. So I don't think there's going to be a Kansas sign saying welcome to Kansas. You can look those up, or maybe I'll show you one right here. But I'll make my own little border crossing and see what it looks like. Alright, so it's the town of Holly, Colorado, on the way to Kansas. Hey Toto, wait for me. Hey, one thing else I wanted to say about Holly is I was just there in the library printing up some directions and scoping out the route. And so I want to say thanks to Bonnie, the librarian there in the library, for letting me use her computers and for letting me fix them for her. And also, hey Caleb, I'm looking for you. So hope you like the videos, and your mom and dad, listen to your mom and dad. Alright, so I'm here in Holly for one more, for just tonight. I'm going to the store right now, and it's off to Kansas tomorrow. That's right, Kansas. Well, look at all these swallows. They're giving me a send-off from Holly. Bye-bye. Nice visiting you. See you later. And here's the Arkansas River. Locals here say it's really a lot higher than they've ever seen it, for a long time at least. And it's flowing pretty good. So I'll be on the south side of the Arkansas River for 2 or 3 days. I cross into Kansas on a little, well, I already told you that, a little county road, and then follow the south side of the river. I'll probably make a stop in Syracuse, so that'll be about a 1.5 mile detour up and then back. I'll do that tomorrow morning or early afternoon just to get something to eat and stock up on some water if I can't get it from the river here. And then I'll get back on the trail which follows the south side of the river, and I finally crossed the river in a place called Kendall, which is to the west of Lyon. And that's where I pick up the Santa Fe Trail again. Santa Fe Trail stays on the north side. And then the Santa Fe Trail and I will be friends, more or less, all the way to crossing the Missouri. And I don't remember if I go through Independence, Missouri or not, but I think that's traditionally the quote-unquote official beginning of the Santa Fe Trail. But anyway, got a long way to go through Kansas before I get there. I think Kansas is 570 miles across, something like that. So about at least another month, 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. Unless I just zoom through Kansas. This is the Holly Airport right here, airstrip, I guess you should call it. It's a dirt, looks like a dirt strip. Maybe it's paved, I don't know. I don't see any airplanes parked there. A lot of farmland, and then Kansas is just right over there somewhere. And look, there's hills out there. Who said Kansas was flat? So get this. You know how I've sung to cows and they've run away from me? Well, these cows are the first cows that have come to see me, and I haven't even sung to them. Maybe that's the key, don't sing. But as I was walking by, they ran over the fence to greet me. You're just saying so long, Been good to know you, all that sort of stuff, right? Yep, I'm leaving Colorado for Kansas. So, wish me a good trip, and I'll wish you a, I don't know, happy steak. Alright, see you guys later. I'm on my way. And thanks for coming to greet me. Bye-bye. You know, when walking these long, straight stretches of road that you can see far off, they look so long and straight. This is Highway 89, and so I'm not going that long straight stretch, but I am going on this long straight stretch. So this is going to be probably about, I don't know, about 4 miles or so in a straight line down towards the Kansas border. Maybe 4.5, maybe 3.5, I don't know. I just know my landmarks where to turn, and I'll look at it in a little bit. But at least I'm walking on dirt now. That's good. Kansas. Oh, you know what I also think about when I think of Kansas? I think of the Wizard of Oz. And I also think of the beginning of the Wizard of Oz. For those of you, probably all have seen it, or most of you anyway. If you haven't, you should. How it started in black and white, and then turned into Technicolor. I'm sure that was a pretty interesting feeling for theater goers in, thinking that not knowing what lay ahead on the movie, and going there and seeing it in the typical black and white for its day, and then switching into color when Dorothy opens the door there. But yeah, so Wizard of Oz, I think of that. I also think of the Wild West getting ready to end somewhere in Kansas. I'll talk about that later. But for right now, I'm thinking about Wizard of Oz and following the Yellow Brick Road and all that sort of stuff.